The process of adding new records in Property Genie begins with first adding an owner. You have to have an owner before you can have a property, and you have to have a property before you can have a tenant. So we go to the Owner Coordinator tab, and you click Add Owner. You'll enter the details, very minimal details of the owner, and then click the Add button. Once you've added the owner, you double-click the owner record and go to the Owner Properties tab to add a property. Under Other Information, the owner's status will need to be changed to active. When you add them initially, they come in as pending. So you'll come in here and change them to active. The other time you would visit this section would be if you were no longer managing for that owner. You would come in and change their status to inactive. So we're going to go to the owner properties, and you would add property. It's going to ask you if you're linking an already existing property. In this case, we're going to answer no, but this is useful in the case where you might have multiple owners for one property. So say two owners jointly own a property. Then you would just add the property one time and link to it. So in this case, we say no. You'll add the minimal details for the property and click the Add button. Once you have the owner and the property added, it's time to go to the Tenant Coordinator to add a prospect. You first add a prospect for that particular property. If you are using the Property Genie online tenant portal, prospects could go there, fill out the application, and it would automatically be written in the database. Just as you see this entry here, the status would come in as pending. For you to double click to go into the actual application data, there is minimal information that is required. So you would come in here, put in the minimal information. We're going to put in a date of birth, driver's license state, and preferred method of contact. So we're going to save this record. You're going to go to the application status. This is where you are going to change the status or approve this particular prospect. We're going to click Edit. We're going to say Approved. We're going to approve them for this property. We're going to save it. Now you'll notice that a button has appeared that says Go to Property. This is going to take you directly to the property so that you can create the lease. So you go to the Lease tab and you say Add New Lease. I'm going to say yes here, and you'll see that the tenant automatically comes in, tenant information, because we've come directly from his application. So we're going to call this the Richard Haskell lease. You'll notice also rent on the property is $1,000. System settings says by default the security deposit is 100% of the rent, so that's going to come in at $1,000. The system's going to prorate the rent based on a start date of the current date. So you'll notice here it's calculating from August 22nd through the end of the month. It prorates the rent. So we're going to save this. Now, the next step in the lease is to execute it. So as of 8/22, we're going to execute. When you push this button, what happens is charges get posted to the accounting journal. Those charges would be this $1,000 rent. That's the first full month's rent, security deposit charge of $1,000, and a prorated rent charge based on today's date of this $327.87. So we're going to go ahead and execute. It's going to ask you if you want to execute it as of today. Just be sure that's correct so that your prorated rent is correct. So we say yes. Now you'll see a lease created called Richard Haskell. Start date, end date is automatically set out for next year. Rent is $1,000, status is current, and you see down below the accounting journal with the charges. Now if you had a payment in hand, you would click on the payments button, and that would allow you to enter a payment. So if, say, he paid the amount in full, his prorated, his first monthly rent, and his security deposit by check, you come in here, say that it's a check, put the check number, take notice to the total payment amount up here. That defaults, the system defaults it to what is actually owed on the account. So it totals up anything outstanding. So you can click the apply button to let the system take that total payment and apply it to the items. The other thing you could do is double click in the apply amount column to apply it manually. So say he was only paying $1,000. Put the payment up there, and then you want to apply it. Say he's just paying his deposit. You would double click there and that would apply it out. In this case, he's paying the full amount, so we're going to clear this all out. We're going to say check 1223, and then we're going to apply, record. Yes, we want to process it. It's going to tell it when it's completed. Once that's done, clicking this Go To button at the top right here will take us directly back out to the accounting journal on the property. So we're going to go look at the lease tab, accounting journal. You'll now see that there are no unpaid charges, no available credit balance is 0. So he's got his charges, each charge, he's made his payment. So now you're all set. That's how you start with Property Genie.